Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for kicking out my cousin and his wife, after they berated me for working instead of watching their kids? I, 36 female, took in my cousin, 37 male, and his wife and 2 children, 6 and 3. A month ago, my cousin lived in a rented apartment for 4 months, but couldn't continue paying because of his financial issues. He said he wanted to go live with his parents, but they live far away and he can't move away from work. I decided to let them move in until he could figure something out with his work. Also, my aunt asked me, so I found it rude to say no. I'm a pediatrician and my schedule is busy. I work in ICU. It's draining both physically and emotionally. Sometimes, I can't even find time for lunch. I work long day shifts/evening shifts/and night shifts depending on my schedule. My cousin's kids are very active and I have many items that they broke, including a lamp I received as a gift. They even broke my late husband's vase. So, I told them this can't happen again. My cousin didn't replace the stuff, just kept complaining about his situation. My place got filthy and uncomfortable. I started spending more time covering shifts to get away from all that mess. The thing is, whenever my cousin and his wife go out, they'd ask me to stay home and watch the kids. I only did it twice and I told them I have other commitments and responsibilities. I already said I'm not available to babysit. My cousin threw a fit. I even suggested getting a babysitter, but he said he won't ever let me pay. 2 days ago, he and his wife went out, and told me to watch the kids for 2 hours. I had a shift that I needed to go to on time. The 2 hours passed and I got ready to go to work. I kept calling them but the line was busy, so I had no choice but leave the kids with my neighbor, a mom in her 40s, and sent my cousin a text to let him know. At 11 p.m., I turned my phone on and found missed calls, and one text from his wife berating me for leaving her kids with a stranger, and called me irresponsible and neglectful. I was stunned. My cousin was mad, saying they couldn't even count me with the kids for 2 hours, insulted my job, and said I must be leaving kids to die in the ICU, ignoring that fact that he didn't bother to answer my calls. I lost it. I got home, argued with them, told them they were out of line, and that they needed to leave. He tried to get me to talk to my aunt on the phone to get me to change my mind, but I had it, especially since they said that I might be doing the same neglecting with my patients. I argued with my aunt and hung up on her. They left, but my cousin didn't stop guilting me, trying to convince me to take them back. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, these are some r/choosing biggers type people. You are doing them a favor. They can't even appreciate that. You told them that you can't watch the kids, which isn't your job anyway, and they still have the audacity to be mad at you. Kick them out. Because no matter if you fix this, nothing will be enough for them. They will still find something bigger to get mad at you for down the line, even after letting them stay in your own place. Edit, I completely missed over the fact that you don't like being home because it's messy. If only there were people living there rent-free that could do chores as some sort of thank you, instead of just breaking more furniture and not paying for it. Not to mention if OP lives in certain areas, pretty soon they might become protected by tenant protection laws. Not the a-hole. One of the first things that kind of shocked me when I moved away from home for college, was that not everyone was raised with the exact same standards of courtesy. I had roommates that thought it was okay to be loud at all hours, roommates who never clean, so on and so forth. But how is it that there are people in this world who don't know not to bite the hand that feeds them? Agreed. And I can't but ask 2 pertinent questions. How can they afford to go out to eat when they're saving money to get their own place? And why are they going out in the middle of a global pandemic? Especially when they live with a pediatrician who spends time in the ICU? Not the a-hole. Not your kids, not their house, not your problem. Not the a-hole, you let this go on for too long. It is not rude to say no to an aunt with regards to your home, you have to readjust your thinking. Don't let them back in, they are disrespectful, entitled, and ungrateful. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my girlfriend and her daughter out? My 46 male girlfriend, 39 female, May and I, have been together for about 3 years. I have a daughter that is 15 female that I split custody with, while May has a 21 female daughter of her own, Alice. May was on the verge of losing her home roughly a year ago and asked to stay with me, and I obliged and May moved in. Around 4 months after that, Alice had to leave school after she failed to improve her grades while on academic probation, and asked for a room until she could get on her feet. I wasn't thrilled, but at the time I saw a future with her mom, and gave some rules and a deadline. Everyone agreed. Roughly 4 months ago, Alice approached May and I, telling us she was pregnant. I was shocked, and her mother was, well, emotional. After the dust settled, I explained to May and Alice I didn't want a baby in the home. I told Alice she broke the deal, and she needs to relocate. She and May weren't happy, but I told them there wasn't a compromise to be made, as it's a living breathing child, and I wasn't interested in being around that at my age. She asked for 40 days and I agreed. Actually, I offered 60 but it wasn't necessary. This past Friday, my daughter, her cousins, and my sister were going down to my beach home for a long weekend, and when they get there the place is obviously being lived in. It wasn't a wreck or anything, but it was dirty, TV was on, trash was half full, and there was food in the fridge. I had them call the police, who searched the place only for Alice to show up. Yeah, Alice was living there. Uninvited. But she had a key profited by her mother. I confronted May, who apologized, and justified her behavior with Alice being her daughter who was carrying her grandchild. I called my sister and had her take Alice to dinner, while I had nephew change the locks and tossing Alice stuff outside. All she had was clothes, so nothing was damaged. I told my now ex-girlfriend she needed to go get Alice before I pressed charges, not even sure I could to be honest, but she left immediately to go get her while Alice discovered she was homeless. While May was on the way there, I let her know we were done, and she wasn't welcome back here. I gathered her property and tossed it out. May called the police, but she can't afford a lawyer to fight the eviction, so it was all for nothing. Am I the a-hole for doing this? I feel they did this to themselves, and are rotten for their actions. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, you made clear conditions and have every right to not want a baby in your home. Using your beach home was the last straw. Not the a-hole. It's still breaking and entering even if the offender has a key. If Alice wasn't invited to stay there, she had no right to be there. May should be lucky that you didn't press charges on her and her daughter. Did she think that Alice would live in the beach house undetected forever? Was May ever going to tell you her daughter was there? May and her daughter took advantage of your kindness and broke your trust. I'm glad you broke up with her and kicked them both to the curb. I don't think they thought much at all, to be honest. May asked why I didn't tell her they were going for the weekend. I assume she thought I would always keep her in the loop with things that don't concern her. Wait. Does this mean the plan was to hide away Alice therefore? Yeah, for how long? Like, anytime May got wind someone was about to turn up, Alice would be warned, hide her stuff, take out the trash, let some fresh air in and go to a cafe or motel until everyone was gone again? And then do all that after having a baby? They really could not have been thinking much at all, because this was never going to work out in any universe. But it tells you something about the sneaky maliciousness of your ex. She was working part-time, so I assumed she was saving. My sister found a few bucks in a drawer she was using, and that is going toward the utilities. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my brother's entire family to move out because my nephew set my bathroom on fire for a TikTok? My 32 female brother, 43 male, his wife, 40s female, and their 2 kids, 9 female and 15 male, have been staying with me for a little over 2 weeks now, because they lost their jobs due to coronavirus and were evicted. 4 people is obviously a large addition, but I didn't want them to be homeless, and they assured me it'd be a temporary stay. 2 days ago, my nephew set my bathroom on fire for a TikTok. From what he told me after, there's some kind of trend where you draw a shape on your mirror with hairspray, and then you light it on fire, and it's supposed to go out on its own without any damage. Well, his fire spread onto a nearby stack of towels and got out of control. We all had to evacuate, but luckily, I live relatively close to a fire station, so the damage wasn't that bad. My guest bathroom is scorched and will need repairs, but the rest of my home is okay. I think that my brother and Sil had to have been wildly negligent to allow this to happen, especially considering the lighter he used was my brother's. Meaning, he must have taken it from him at some point. I'm asking them to leave within the next week, because I don't want to risk something of this nature happening again. They've apologized and asked me to reconsider because it was an accident. No one was hurt in the end. They'd be homeless if I kicked them out now, and to think of my niece who did nothing. I'm not going to charge them for the repairs because they flat out can't afford it, but I no longer feel safe living with them. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He lit your house on fire for an internet trend. He's lucky he didn't kill someone. Sounds like someone dangerous to have in the house. Not the a-hole. If you don't kick them out now, they very soon stop being house guests and start becoming lodgers/tenants. That's a legal can of worms you don't want to go through to get someone terrifying out of your house. And your nephew clearly needs the parenting of seeing actions have consequences. He didn't do this in his own home, he did this to his host, which means, he hasn't learned to respect others' belongings. I no longer feel safe living with them. Not the a-hole. That's the only reason you ever need. This isn't a candle that got out of hand situation. Insurance doesn't cover intentional dumbassery. It wasn't an accident, and he could have killed someone. For a TikTok. It amazes me that the parents don't realize that. Their kid literally could have killed someone. This isn't a prank, it's serious. The fire department had to come. Info: do you think the kid learned their lesson and won't do it again? Do you think they will do something stupid again? These are the questions you should be asking yourself, not strangers on the internet. If the answer is no, he didn't learn, kick them out. If the answer is yes, I don't think he will screw up again, let them stay. Also, do you really think it's wildly negligent to have your 15-year-old leave your site for the 45 seconds it takes to spray and light hairspray? You realize you're basically suggesting they watch their children use the bathroom, right? Look, what he did was wrong, and they are ultimately responsible, but to say wildly negligent to let a 15-year-old have privacy in the bathroom, when they have presumably never done anything like this before, makes no sense at all. Perhaps now it would be negligent to let him go into the bathroom unsupervised. But it certainly wasn't before, since you've listed no previous bad behavior. The last story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for not resigning the lease even though my roommate has nowhere to go?" So, I, 28 female, live with two of my close friends, Amy, 25 female, and Chelsea, 27 female. Amy has a 6-year-old son that she has partial custody of. She usually has him once a week. When we initially moved into the house, this was the arrangement we had agreed upon, and we always said that having the kid around full-time wouldn't be a good fit, because Chelsea and I both have large dogs that aren't the most kid-friendly. Up until now, this arrangement had been working until recently we learned that Amy's ex decided to join the military, and now Amy will have to take full custody of her son whenever he is gone for extended periods of time. We all agreed that it would be best for Amy to find a new place to live, as neither Chelsea or I want to live with a small child, and we also worry about the child's safety around the dogs. It's easy to manage one night a week because we can keep them separated, but doing so full-time would not be an option, as this basically confines the dogs to a single room, which isn't fair to them. Unfortunately, Amy is having a hard time finding a place to live, so she is unable to move out right now. Chelsea and I both agree that if she isn't able to find anywhere else to go by the time the lease is up, we don't plan on resigning with Amy. She is making the both of us out like the a-holes in this scenario, and is trying to say that we're the ones at fault for the arrangement no longer working, because we're the ones with dogs that aren't child-friendly, and that it's our fault she isn't going to have anywhere to go. But even without the dogs in the picture, we already stated that we just don't want to live with a child full-time anyway. I am sympathetic to her situation, but I don't think that this is my responsibility to have to worry about. I'm still feeling kind of bad about the whole thing though. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Since she can't win using logic, she's trying to use guilt to get what she wants. Yeah, she's acting quite immature. The rules they had set together are not working out for her, so now she's getting upset. It doesn't work that way. She should have known better. Not the a-hole. You pay to live in a place that supports the lifestyle you want. You want to have a large dog and no kids, so you get to do that. She is the one changing the arrangements, and as the full-time parent, she should be asking the dad for support with housing and expenses, not her roommates, because that is what she is doing by making it your problem. The military probably has a stipend for childcare for people who have kids and are unmarried. She should actually look into that. The US military does. I didn't know this. I'm going to bring it up to her and see if she's aware. I'm sure that could really help her out. Thank you. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.